Welcome to Hardheaded Podcast. We're excited that you've joined us as we have a conversation. We found that a good conversation allows us to share what's on our mind, whether current events, what's grinding our gears, or our pet peeves.
It also allows us to share our top 3, a list of our favorite things on any given subject, most of which are highly opinionated. In closing, we share a good word. Solid friendships are encouraging. Even if we joke and give each other a hard time, our ultimate responsibility is to uplift each other.
Our goal is that you'll feel like you're part of the conversation, like you were in the studio with us, and that you feel encouraged after tuning in to our podcast. It's time to join the conversation.
Yay! All right, Cinco de Mayo. Welcome to the show.
Oh my God.
May I had a margarita earlier. I don't know.
That is the
to celebrate. Mexican independence.
No.
What is it, Chet?
Their Independence Day is in September.
Chet bringing us back around.
What have I been celebrating all these years? And on the border with El Presidente margaritas.
You got the Tex-Mex version of history.
That's right. Well, while he's looking that up, guys and gals, we have a great show for you this day.
The battle, I'm sorry for interrupting. You trying to interrupt me looking at something. It's the Battle of Puebla. It's a holiday celebrated in parts of Mexico and the United States in honor of military victory in 1862 over the French forces of Napoleon III.
Independence Day!
No, it's in, I'm pretty sure it's September 16th is Mexican Independence Day. Yes, Mexican Independence Day is September 16th.
So now you know what you've been celebrating, the Battle of Puebla.
Hey, there you go. Cinco de Mayo. Is it also the Day of the Dead?
It's the holiday celebrates the moment that Father Hidalgo
That's Dia de los Muertos.
called for Mexico's independence.
There you go.
Aren't you guys fascinated by my knowledge of when Mexican Independence Day is?
Yeah, thanks to Google.
No, I told you it was in September.
You did. You called it.
Yeah, it's on my birthday.
That's how you know.
Yeah, I know another Oral Hershiser, the Dodgers pitcher that won the World Series back in 1988. Yeah.
My favorite pitcher of all time.
Yes, he was born on September 16th as well.
Hey, Axl Rose and Ronald Reagan born on my birthday.
Yeah, nobody asked you, Troy. Nobody brought up Mexican independence.
Who's born on yours?
Nobody, but JFK got shot on mine.
It's because he watched. It's because he watched.
November 22nd, 1963.
He got a pre-release of Lonesome Dove.
You were born in 63?
No, he was shot in 63, but I was born, many years later. I just happened to. And November 22nd was the day that the Miracle on Ice, November 22nd.
Yes.
So I share my birthday with the Miracle on Ice.
When the United States beat Russia in the semifinal game.
Yep.
That was not the gold medal match, Troy. They had to win another game.
But that's how bad we were at hockey.
What do you mean?
That we celebrated the Miracle on Ice.
No, that was the professional Russian hockey players and communism against
It's like not high school,
college,
but, college
athletes and freedom and independence.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was like Ivan Drago and Rocky.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Rocky IV.
Anyway, we got a great show for you today, folks.
We can waste as much time as we want because I have no idea what's on my mind.
Hey, you know another thing that happened on Cinco de Mayo 7 years ago? I was fired from a job. And I went home that day and I told my wife, it's time to start my business. And so ever since then, I've been a business owner.
Yeah. So the birth of Trussell Media?
The birth of Trussell Media
Came
was
out
on
of the death
of
May 5th.
of a job.
Yeah, on May 5th. So every Cinco de Mayo, I'm reminded of that and how blessed I am to have my own business. It's great.
What's Trussell Media in Spanish?
I don't know what's the Spanish word for media, because it's probably Trussell then that.
Yeah. But you can't pronounce it Trussell.
Trussell.
I don't know.
You roll your R's? I don't know.
No, the 2 L's is Y.
How do
You should figure it out. And then
That
make a
just
big
blew
thing
my
about it.
mind. Chet.
What I say? Sounds French.
It does sound French, but I'm from Louisiana, so that makes sense, right?
All right.
All right. Well, we are off
Has
the
anything
rails.
come to mind yet while we were stalling for you over here?
A little bit.
All right. What's on your mind, Matt?
I do not like driving in
Choose
town.
your adventure. Fill in the blank. I do not like.
I don't know. I was driving home the other day
You don't like driving what?
in town at all. Like I don't like driving in cities.
In the city limits.
Yeah.
Define a city.
Anything with a traffic light.
Okay.
Any road with the traffic light?
I don't like it.
Okay.
I don't like it.
How close was the nearest traffic light to where you grew up?
Man, at that time,
You lived in the city.
no, they were a ways away.
Hot time in the city. They were miles away, Chet.
They were. I'm trying to think of the closest one.
2.
Closest one would have been prior to Maze Road.
Oh, wow. You're old.
I've been around a while.
So you don't mind driving.
I love driving.
You just don't like traffic lights.
I don't like traffic lights.
Do you not like traffic lights or do you not like traffic, period?
I don't like traffic, but traffic lights create the traffic.
No, they do not. I have scientific evidence. that
Here's
they
what
do
I'm
not.
going to tell you. You might have scientific evidence. I have on the road evidence. So, like, I'm driving back from wherever. I've been on the road a lot past couple months, but going through and, there's a Highway 400 or whatever, and you're speeding right along, and then you'll come to a spot that's got a traffic circle, not a stoplight, traffic circle.
I'm a fan.
I am a fan of traffic circles.
Yep.
Let's just put traffic circles everywhere.
Doesn't,
Let's just take out the lights and put in traffic. I don't care what needs to happen, but I do not like sitting there at a stoplight. I just don't like, if I'm driving, I want to be driving. I don't want to be sitting. So, and traffic lights, because here in Wichita, we don't have that many traffic jams that slow you down to where you're just at a complete stop most of the time, unless there's a bad wreck.
Or you try to go through the North Junction at any point.
That North Junction sucks.
Yes.
That's the one they're redoing right now, right?
Yeah, but it's like got another 2 years.
Well, yeah.
And they had just
Well, that's what we said about Kellogg, too. And it was done pretty quick.
No, it was not.
30 years.
I stand corrected, ladies and gentlemen.
They literally said this is the first time in 30 years there's not an orange cone on Kellogg.
Well, I mean, I'm talking about that one part.
Yeah, but that was the last part of a 30-year journey.
I've only been here 10, so that's all I
right.
remember.
See, and then as soon, like the day that they finished Kellogg, and it was like, oh man, traffic's going great. I've got really two main ways that I can take home. I can go to the North Junction. I can take Kellogg. They're both going to be about the same time. Next day, boom, they started the construction on the North Junction. And so now I'm back down to 1.
Hey, I will say, though, I can appreciate all the road construction. Because the last time I went back to Shreveport, I didn't think the bridge was going to support the cars that were rolling over it. And it scared me. They do not. The way that Kansas or Wichita
does it before it's necessary.
Right, which is a good thing.
And that goes for repairs. That goes for expansions. That goes for, we're going to improve we're going to get rid of the clover leaf because there's a better design now. They spend their money ahead of time. And last time I checked, they're ranked number 1, like in roads.
Yeah.
Like you ask anybody that comes through here, they're like, man, everything was so easy to get to, so easy to navigate. Whoever, the city planners here did a great job of laying out the city and how it's all laid out. Of course, we're pretty flat, so we don't have any.
If I was a neighboring state, they do the totally opposite. But if I was a neighboring state, like the best stretch of road that I would have would be where it connects to Kansas. Because what happens now when you're going to Colorado? I mean, you hit the state line
and it's immediately bad.
And it is immediately horrible. Wow. And it happens in Oklahoma. When you're driving down to Oklahoma, as soon as you hit the state line, potholes everywhere. Like it's instant. And you're like, this is really bad.
I'm trying to think. even on I-24 when I was driving from Kentucky down to Alabama, dude, there's some freaking potholes on that thing that I hit with my truck going at night that I hit with that thing. And I was like, oh, well, I about lost it. Cause you know, I mean,
I'm not joking. In Louisiana, they, your little, the diamond shaped caution signs that, caution bridge ices first or whatever.
Bridge ices before road.
They have, and this is the road I had to drive to get into town. One of those signs that says caution, substandard roadway. Like, we know this is a piece of crap road and it's going to damage your car and it could potentially kill you, but we're going to put up this sign so we don't have any liability. Like, I mean, it's like that bad. Like, they literally spend dollars, I don't know how many, thousands of dollars on signs telling you we suck at roads and we're going to call it caution, substandard roadway.
Wow.
I will tell you, some of the absolute worst roads that I've ever been on were in Louisiana.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's bad. And I'd been down just after Katrina. And so I gave them a little bit of forgiveness because I was like, that water.
Don't forgive them.
Nope.
That water probably messed these roads up, whatever.
No.
And then I go back like
that water cleaned the streets. Yeah. Come on.
I wouldn't say that was clean, but I went back.
You must not have been in New Orleans because it was clean.
Oh, I was right on whatever the
I-10.
That main drag there. What do they call that?
Bourbon Street in New Orleans.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, I went back later on and literally nothing had changed. Nothing was fixed. It was all just, you needed 4-wheel drive in the town.
If only they would allow gambling like on riverboats and things where they could have extra tax revenue to spend on roads and schools, then things would be better.
Oh yeah.
Maybe if they had a big industry like oil and gas that was in Louisiana and they had a lot
of
revenue.
Maybe if they
can improve roads and schools.
Corrupt governments. Maybe they might get something done down there. I said it.
You said it.
I said it.
But anyway, back to my point. I don't know what it is about traffic lights that really just irritate me. If you're on the road at night and you're driving down, then all of a sudden there's literally nobody on the road except you, and it was green. From a mile away, you see it, and then you get up, and right before you get there, up, yellow, red.
I'm with you on that. The timed traffic lights that don't have the sensors
are stupid.
Oh gosh, that's all I
agree.
In Louisiana, that's all they have.
Yeah,
I never, of course, I moved up here almost 15 years ago. There was all on a timer. No matter what time of day it was, there was going to be green for so many seconds, and then it would turn red. It didn't matter if there was any traffic or what.
And then here in the busy time of day, we still have some of those, and it's like, oh, I'm gonna wait. Okay, it's red. I'm 15 cars back, so I got 3 more times for this light to change before I can get through it.
Yeah,
because those timers suck.
What I like about the sensors, I'm sorry to interrupt you, like Maze Road, main drag, north and south, and then all the roads that cross it are lesser roads at those intersections. So it's biased to be green for maze traffic, and all the other ones are red until the sensor's tripped. Well, at night, let's just say coming back late from recording a podcast, no traffic out there. I'm coming on 37th. Well, at a quarter mile out, if you flash your brights,
it registers like it's an emergency vehicle.
It'll red and change the light. Yeah. And by the time you get there, it's already green. Yeah. And but if there's other traffic, it's not that way. But if there's no traffic,
nobody there, it'll work.
Yeah, and it's almost like it's got to be, because it works on some flashes. If you're just doing it real quick, it won't work. It's kind of got to be almost to the pace of like the lights. So dot 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 dot, and then.
Are you giving the light Morse code?
I think it's almost built for that, to be honest.
I do it in multiple.
Exactly like I just did. Yeah.
Turn green.
Yeah.
Turn green.
Do it now, quickly.
It works.
Yeah.
And then I don't like sitting in traffic and when that light turns green, everybody should be ready to go.
Dude, cell phones have made that so bad.
Cell phones.
Like if I sit there
I've gotten honked at.
So,
I apologize. Right now, I've been honked at.
Cell phones and people being offended by being honked at.
Oh, I'm not offended.
It's not the end of the world if you get honked at.
No.
But they're like, people want to shoot you if they honk.
No, I completely agree. But when I get honked at, I'm like, oh, thank you. So
my bad.
Yeah, I should have been paying attention. Mm-hmm. And I've honked at other people. They get pissed off. I'm like, what are you pissed off about?
Right.
Just be paying attention. Like,
well, they get mad because they got caught.
Right.
Like, oh man, that was me. And then they feel bad. There's that guilt. And then they, it's like the 5 stages of grief. When you get honked at, you're like, oh man, hey, screw you, buddy. Exactly. Oh man, I probably shouldn't have done that. No. You just go through the whole cycle of emotions. But
yeah, that's what happens every time, Matt. Every time.
I like it.
It's psychological. I can't explain it.
No, but I've been to driven in several foreign countries or ridden on a lot of highways, and I don't know of a single traffic light in the country of Haiti. And it's a nightmare. Like the traffic, and they have a hierarchy though. The bigger the vehicle, the more right of way.
I like that one.
And it goes,
yeah,
it goes all the way down to pedestrian. So, you got the big vehicles. The dump trucks is basically the biggest vehicle you're going to find there, and then SUVs. They don't have like cars because the roads are so bad that it's not gonna happen. And then or pickup trucks, you have some of those, and then motorcycles, and then pedestrians. And there's different laws that they have on like crazy stuff, like making a left-hand turn, you have to pull over to the right-hand side of the road and wait till all the traffic passes you from behind, and then you could turn left. Little things like that. But that one was the biggest vehicle. That's just it. Whoever's the biggest, you have the right of way. But then, like at an intersection, when somebody goes, like, oh, I'm going to ease out in there, everybody piles in behind it until somebody's brave enough to like break off the chain of cars going with brute force. Basically, we're going to pull up in here and risk getting hit, and I'm going to trust that he doesn't want to damage his car, so he will stop. And then I'll go, and then like 15 other cars try to go through with that one. It gets crazy.
Yep.
And slow because of that.
Wow.
All I'm saying is Elon Musk needs to get on this traffic deal. And we also need to figure out.
I don't think so.
We also need to figure out looky loos. Because
looky loos.
Looky loos. What's a looky loo?
People that see something on the road and it's not even on the side of the road that they're on.
Oh yeah. Oh,
and then they're like, hold on, I got to slow down and check this out.
Those are rubberneckers.
Rubberneck.
Not looky loos.
Looky loos, rubbernecks, whatever.
Men use rubbernecks. Women use looky loos.
Whatever it is. I don't like them. So I'm driving down the highway, and it's completely backed up, and I was blaming the stoplight. So on Kellogg, just before you turn on 143rd,
yeah,
there's that first light there that you hit after you get off Kellogg, or it transitions from the
expressway,
whatever it is.
Yeah,
and I'm like, why is it so backed up? I mean, I was like, it's like
fender bender.
It's like 2:00 in the afternoon. I'm like, there's no, like, what are we doing here? And so it takes me 20 minutes to go a mile, if that, because we're just sitting there.
Yeah.
And it's a car in the median that had rolled over.
Oh.
We're not even, there's nothing on the road.
Nobody's blocking traffic.
There's nobody blocking traffic.
Watching. Yeah.
The police are all over, on the other side of the road.
They're just driving slow and looking what happened.
It's like, stop. It's not that interesting. Just keep on going. And then
it's all the looky loos, Chet.
All the looky loos. And then I was on
you looky loos, stop it.
And then I was on Kellogg again. And the accident was on the other side of the divided highway. The other side. Like there's nothing heading east or heading west, nothing.
Yeah.
And we are bumper to bumper backed up for 5 miles.
Is that day I drove past? I was behind you.
Yeah.
And you were griping about there's not even an accident going west. The accident was going east.
Yeah.
And it's a divided. They literally have the concrete barriers between the two.
Yes.
By the time I got there was a wreck going west. At the same point, somebody was watching and hit the person in front of them. which happened to be one of the new Ford Broncos, which they don't have all the parts to fix that thing yet.
Oh man,
that made me sick. I was like, that's horrible, especially for that.
Yeah, but speaking of new vehicles, I just saw for the very first time in person live today a Jeep Grand Wagoneer. Wow.
Those are pretty.
That thing is awesome. I didn't think it was going to be as big as it was. That thing's big. That's like a...
It better be full of gold.
It looks like
the size... 6 figures.
What?
$100,000.
Yeah.
I'm not joking.
Like so that's like their...
Gas? I'm assuming it's gas driven.
Yeah.
But they've got levels, and I can't remember the series, whatever they have, series 1 or whatever. But your top of the line series, whatever, is like 108. But it looks good.
Wow.
Because it looks about the size of an Expedition.
I told you it looked good. I told you I wasn't a fan of it because I don't like that brand in anything. And then I was like, dude, I saw one the other day and I was impressed.
That's the first one I seen driving on the road. I thought about...
That's one of those pictures don't do it justice. It looks good on photos, but you see that
You said it's a Jeep Grand Wagoneer?
Yep.
And you see it in person, you're like, man... That's a sharp looking ride.
Plus, I know that guy had $108,000 at least.
No, he has debt. That guy has debt.
Right.
I was getting ready to whip right in front of him and hold him up for gas money.
No, for debt. Give me your note.
I don't want his note.
Yeah.
So the other place, another traffic law in China. I don't know if it's a law or not, but if your front bumper is in front of the car next to you, you own that space. So if you're like passing somebody on an interstate, as soon as your front bumper passes their front bumper, you could signal like I'm coming over and you go.
And they got to slow down.
They will get out of your way. Like and the other thing that they did because of that, when they're coming up on a vehicle, so I spent a lot of time in a car in China, and we were going on interstates, all these highways. So you're pedal to the metal, it felt like 80, 90 miles an hour, and you're just flying down this thing, and you're coming up on a car. Well, they would do it 100% of the time. They'd honk, beep, beep, because they don't want this guy. Well, he could go wherever he wants because his bumper's out front. But they're just like, hey, I'm letting you know I'm coming up behind you and I'm about to overtake you. So our days were full and staying up late, getting up early, traveling a lot, going to see a bunch of different factories. And that was like, oh, at least I can sleep when we're going to be in the car for 3 hours this afternoon. That stupid horn is just like, every time you pass somebody's honking the horn. And I'm coming from the U.S., the horn's getting honked because you're either about to get in a crash or you're mad at somebody, and I'm like, oh, what, oh no, we're just passing somebody.
Yeah. Speaking of other weird, that's not necessarily weird. I kind of get the theory behind that. Yeah. But when I was in Kentucky, I learned that there is if you are they don't call them council members, they call them something else, but it's basically
constable.
No, it's not a constable. But it's something to that effect. But once you get
police jury.
Nope. Once you get put into that position, you can no longer have a duel. You can no longer have a duel.
Oh,
like a
Kentucky colonel?
No, that's fried chicken, dummy.
No, it's not. It's official position for the state of Kentucky. That's why they called him Colonel Sanders, because he actually got that position.
Either way, that's not it. But
we had a plant manager that was from Kentucky, and he would put in for everybody that directly reported to him to become a Kentucky colonel. That's a real deal.
Mm-hmm.
But you could, like, when you say duel, he couldn't, like, I challenge you to a duel. But this would be
like, your county,
like a city council,
your county commission or whatever it is, but they have different names for it. And
you gave up that right.
You gave up the right to have a duel.
Yeah.
And then in the process of learning that, I found out that there is a law in the state of Kentucky that you must shower at least once a year. It's actually on the books.
Wow. Can you have a duel? I mean, is that even legal?
I don't think so.
Apparently, if you call them out.
I mean, in Kentucky, I guess you can.
Yeah,
I don't know. Discharging a firearm?
No. I don't know if it
Or is
goes.
this with swords?
I think it was with swords back in the day. Challenge you to a duel.
Oh, that was with guns.
You always named your weapon too.
Oh, that's right.
Like, I challenge you to a duel. Name your weapon. Well, it's kind of like saying,
We're going to walk over a bed of Legos. Matt's like, okay. Don't hurt my feet.
I'll take it.
Might hurt my ankles.
You might slip and fall.
I might. But anyway, I'm fed up with traffic in general.
Yeah, I think we all are. Let's take a break. We'll head into our top 3. 1797, establishing dominance. A young nation begins the formation of the world's most formidable fleet of naval ships with the commissioning of its first ship, the U.S. frigate Constellation. A lively blend of rosemary, lemon, and peppermint, 1797 is a great blend to start your day. It is a great awakening quality with a minty kick. Much like stepping out on a deck of a ship cruising the brisk ocean waters, this blend will give you that early morning boost. 1797, establishing dominance.
Check it out at admiralspinnet.com. Without it, you might as well shave.
All right, welcome back. I didn't say it earlier, but because we got off the rails.
Quickly
we did. But Mother's Day is this Sunday. And so for our top 3, we're going to talk about moms.
Your top 3 moms?
Oh, gosh. Already off the rails again.
Mom memories.
Mom memories. Top 3 mom memories that you have of your mom. So, yeah. I think
I'll go first.
Chet's going to lead us off.
So my mom was a city girl, born and raised in Columbus, Ohio. And, just not an outdoor person at all. And we were back in Louisiana before they'd moved up here. Stone was, 7 or 8 years old. Back in where I grew up, you just go out in the backyard, shoot guns. I mean, there's nobody around.
Right.
Living on some land. And I had already bought, Stone had a 22 that was given to him, a little 22 bolt action. I put a little red dot scope on it. We went back, we were throwing clay pigeons, shooting them with a shotgun. And I was just picked on my mom. And it was like, I'm sure you don't want to shoot guns, but she was out there watching her grandson and whatnot. And she's like, what you don't think I know how to shoot guns? I'm like, Mom, I've been around for decades, and I've never seen you even touch one. Like, that's just, she's like, you give me that rifle. And sure enough, we had some clay pigeons set up, and she popped off a few rounds and hit everything she shot at, and then turned around and handed it back to me.
I'll tell you, son.
I've had my practice.
Yeah. So anyway,
that's awesome.
That I took a picture while it was happening, which was hilarious. I can't even believe my mom. After about the first shot, I'm like, oh, I gotta get this. So yeah, she was like, pink, 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 and then here you go. I'm like, what? Where did that come from? Like, and she was like, my dad taught me how to shoot when I was a kid. And she still had it, which I thought was fantastic. So that one cracked me up while it was happening.
That's awesome.
Number 2. When we grew up going to church, and it was a big deal when we got old enough to sit with the youth group instead of sit with the parents.
Oh yeah.
But I remember when I was sitting with her, just listening to her sing, and that was just a lot. She sang really well, and I just really enjoyed that. That's a great memory that I have of her. And then number 1. And this is something that we've kind of carried on for the most part in our house, but we were growing up very regimented around having dinner at home every night as a family, sitting around the table. Sometimes activities, playing ball or whatever wouldn't allow that to happen, but it was just a guarantee. My dad was coming home from work, and within 30 minutes, we're all going to be sitting down and having dinner. And the work that she put in to make that happen every day, it was just, and I see that now where especially, you know, Ashley's been traveling here recently and whatnot. I'm trying to make that happen, and all the effort that goes into not only that, a lot of dishes being done, you know, all cleaning up after all the cooking and all that kind of stuff. But I think if you just like the growth that happened as a kid, debates, learning, you know, asking questions, the whole family experience, a lot of that in our house took place around the dinner table.
Yep.
And all of that's due to the effort that Mom put into making dinner every night. So that's my number one.
I dig it.
It would be food.
Yes.
Which I'll go next because I'm actually not too far off. So number 3 would be my mom's cooking.
Yeah.
So same thing, you know, we'd come home from church on Sunday morning. You know, we get home around, 1 o'clock or something like that, you know, because we lived out a ways from where my dad was a music minister at the time. He's now a pastor. But we'd come home, and I'll never forget because she had would make roast beef, and she'd have the potatoes and carrots, and then
all in the slow cooker, crock pot.
Well, no, she would do it in the oven. Actually, instead, and she would sear like the outside of it.
She set it up before you guys went to church.
Yep.
So, question: was the biggest meal of the week Sunday lunch?
Always Sunday lunch.
That's a norm for me. That was not your experience growing up.
Well,
other than at your grand's house.
Well, it was always at my grandmother's house.
Yeah.
At my grandparents'
because
house,
I'll never forget. I can't remember how long we've been married. There was a moment when Ash was just like, well, we'll just grab, make some sandwiches or something when we get home, like after church. And I was like, what?
Cardinal sin.
Sandwiches are for Saturday afternoons. Sundays,
not Sunday.
It's gonna be the best thing that you could cook. Like it's.
Well,
I mean,
and we did growing up. We always had Sunday steak, steak, salad, and potatoes. At my grandparents' house.
Yeah,
but truth be known, my mom doesn't like the kitchen that much. I mean,
which is a shocker because she is a very good cook.
Yeah,
like that. That's
when she does get in there and make something, it's delicious.
Normally, people that are like, nah, I don't like to cook. There's a reason for that. Like, I tried it and people puked, or
right.
Yeah, I tried it and nobody ate what I
like. We fight over my mom's cheese grits. I mean, they're the best thing.
The brisket, she cooks great brisket.
Yeah,
she. I've never had them. Right. I've heard about her shoestring potato fries.
Oh, she taught me how to make them.
See, Matt, I've been married to her daughter for 20 years.
I've never cooked them for you at my house.
No.
Oh, they're delicious.
And actually,
sounds like I know something's coming up.
Yeah.
She's like, my mom makes the best. And that's the thing. It's stories about the best.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
her beef stroganoff to die for.
Has mushrooms in it.
Well, yeah, you're picky.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
You gotta have mushrooms are awesome,
dude.
Yes, they are.
Can I tell you a story about beef stroganoff real quick?
Yeah, sure.
I'm sorry I'm interrupting your top 3.
Normal.
Disrespecting my mother.
Our listeners would know Chris Broughton.
Our special guest. Yeah,
he's filled in special host. At one point, Ashley we didn't have kids yet. She made homemade beef stroganoff. It may have been your mom's recipe. I don't know.
Probably was. It's delicious.
I'm not a mushroom fan. And it wasn't just the mushrooms, because you'll find out in just a second. I tasted it. Ashley's really excited, newly married, year or two. And I'm like, I'm sorry, honey. Like, I can't eat this. Like I go to great lengths to not make you feel bad, but this is just something I'm not going to eat. And she jokingly was like, I can't believe it. Well, Broughton showed up that night. And I remember standing in the kitchen. I think it was while we were talking about it. And he's like, what's going on? And Ash is like, can you believe I made him this fancy dinner and he didn't eat any of this beef stroganoff? How dare you, Chet? You can't treat Ashley like that. I mean, he just ripped into me. And I would just let me have it. So they both ganged up on me. And I was like, eat it. Fix it. Take it all home. I don't care. I want you to eat some right now. And he ate it. He took a bite. And he was like, okay, siding with Chet on this one. He's like, I don't know what you did, but that's not the beef stroganoff that I think of,
Well, that's odd for Ashley to mess something up too.
It may not have been messed up. It may just been my flavor palette was off. But anyway,
but
when you brought that up,
Broughton's being off and yours being off at the same time.
Yeah.
It's probably
she enjoyed it. She liked
unlikely.
it, but it was crazy. So anyway, you and I Sunday, that was the day. And I cooked a bison roast just the other day. I kept mentioning Ashley, man, we haven't had roast in a while. Well, I'll go pick one up. I was like, oh, you don't need to pick one up. We've got one. And I made a mistake, and I pulled the leanest cut that he had, sirloin.
Yeah, so it's going to be tough.
He had a sirloin roast, and that we did. And I'm like, oh, it was like a steak, basically, that was slow cooked.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. Still, it tasted wonderful, but it was not
texture-wise, what you would think of roast beef.
What I had in mind.
Yeah. No, but we would, we'd come home and you'd smell that as soon as you walked in the door. And I mean, it was one of my favorite things. And then the next,
it smells like Sunday.
Yeah. Well,
roasting.
Yep.
Steak and potatoes.
And then I knew later that week we were going to have roast beef hash.
Oh, okay.
And so
what is that?
So she would take the potatoes that were left over and take the roast beef that was left over and then put it in a pan on the stove and fry it up.
Ooh.
And so then kind of like corned beef hash, but it's roast beef hash. So you just use the roast beef.
You just said my gag reflex just kind of.
You haven't had good corned beef yet because I'm telling you,
dude,
I was 100% opposed to anything corned beef after some Irish holiday. And somebody's like, here, let's try this. What is it? Corned beef and cabbage, and I'm like, I couldn't even.
I'll eat that.
I can't stand the smell even.
What's wrong with you?
I don't know about the legit stuff, but I had a roommate in college in the dorm, and
well, you could stop there. Not eating it.
Yeah, he'd just take that Hormel corned beef hash.
No.
And you want to talk about walking in the door and smelling an odor?
That's corned beef trash.
Yeah, dude, that stunk up the whole. When you got off the elevator, you're like, oh, JD's got the corned beef hash in the pot, on the hot plate.
So
it was
another.
You hear people get off the elevator, ding.
Another diversion.
Oh, what's that? Oh, that stinks.
That's Seinfeld episode.
But another diversion off of that is something that my mom used to cook, which was she would make salmon patties.
Love those.
Love them, right? But I did the same thing.
We called them salmon croquettes.
Whatever you called them, Louisiana.
In the city.
And so, yeah. So I went down and this was when I was in college and my roommate was Polish. And I had a hot plate and I was like, I'm really hungry. I want to try Mom's salmon patties. And so I asked her for the recipe. She sent it to me and I went to the store and I got the stuff and I made it on the hot plate in the dorm room, and that stunk up the whole hallway.
Yeah.
Like it was bad. And he's like, what are you doing? That's gross.
Yeah.
Complained forever. But anyway, so number 3 would be Mom's cooking. Number 2, very similar story actually, Chet. When I was younger, I was always into hunting, and finally, they weren't going to buy me a shotgun. And so they would, they give me allowance, and I saved up my money to go buy a shotgun. And so my first shotgun that I bought was Remington 870.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I don't know how many times I'd always just, I was a kid, but I'd always pull that thing out, and I mean, I was always cleaning it and, taking it apart and putting it back together, and, just had a lot of fun with it. And, it was, my neighbor that first took me to shoot, clay pigeons. But then my mom took me out one time and we went out to Cheney, back when the shooting range was actually public access instead of now where it's public access in quotations.
Yeah.
Because they only open it up every so often, even though the public owns it. And we would go out there and she would throw the clays and I'd shoot, and then she'd be like, hey, do you want to try? And so I finally got her to shoot the shotgun, because she hadn't shot one. She was a kid, and she was doing a pretty good job busting clays. And that was always a good fond memory, because she wasn't into hunting and didn't know anything about hunting, but she supported that hobby in me.
Yeah. And when you see her participating in that hobby, it's a special.
Yeah, and seeing her out there, when she could throw the clays and launch them out there and let me shoot, and it's fun. And then number one is a mom memory that she never lets me forget, but and she doesn't listen to podcasts, so she doesn't know that I was being facetious, I guess is the right word. But anytime, if I'm driving, I was just learning to drive, and we had a 1989 or 1990, 91 Astro van. Mm-hmm. And so that's what I learned. That's what I learned to drive in. And
so it was brand new?
No, it was used.
Yeah. I was learning to drive back then.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was.
So an 89 would have been off the lot.
So, 91, it would have been 5 years old when I got it. But I mean, it had a tape deck. I could sleep in the back. It was awesome. But we're in the driveway, and I'm pulled into the driveway, and I'm trying to pull up, and she's like, "Oh, pull up just a little more," and I goosed it, and I'm going right for the garage door, and she's like, "Hit the brake!" She's yelling, she's screaming at me, "Hit the brake! Hit the brake!" And I'm like, "Which one's the brake?" And she freaked out, right? And so to this day, she will tell everybody, "Remember that time when you were learning to drive and we were in the driveway and you almost hit the garage door and you had, which one's the brake?" But that's like my subtle cue, because you always want to be respectful to your mom. You don't want to tell your mom, "Hey, shut up."
Right.
Let me think here. It was, "Which one is it?" From over there in the passenger seat. Let me get my foot over here real quick.
That's funny.
But it's funny because that's the story she always tells, and it kills me every time, because inside I'm just like, I was just trying to get her to be quiet.
And you're just going to let her continue to think that.
Yep. That's what a good son does.
That's right. All right. Well, my number 3. So my sister and I went to the Revel with my mom. The Red River Revel in Shreveport was this big arts festival that they used to have down by the river, and they'd have booths of people with art and stuff, and they'd have all this great food. Go eat some different, crawfish, Louisiana funnel cakes, just circus food kind of stuff. We'd go down there. Well, we were leaving one time, and my sister and I were kind of ahead of my mom, walking towards the car. And we heard this loud, "Ah!" and then this crash, right? and we turned around, and come to find out, my poor mother had stepped in this hole that she didn't see that was 2 feet deep.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, maybe not that deep, maybe a foot deep, but it tripped her up, right? And so she was carrying everything that we had bought, and just flew,
They went everywhere.
Just had this, and I just have this memory of that. Because my sister and I both turned around and were like, Mom, are you okay? Are you okay?
Then you laughed at her.
And she was like, "Yeah, I'm okay. And then I couldn't stop laughing for 15 minutes. Because it was the funniest thing.
The noise.
The noise and the, yeah. But yeah, that's just a fond memory, because it gets brought up a lot when we're all together. That story just comes up over and over, and just giving my mom a hard time about that.
And your mom's a little clumsy.
She is.
And because of the way that you've treated her around her clumsiness, your daughter is just as clumsy.
That's right.
I think,
my daughter's more clumsy than my mom. My daughter has 2 broken feet right now.
Yeah.
Because she's a klutz. She's wearing a boot on one, and we're getting a CT scan back in a day or two now, to see if her other foot is broken as well, and how extensive the damage is, because they can't figure it out.
You would not have laughed at your mom at the Revel, Troy.
No, my daughter would have perfect feet, but she doesn't. No, so that's all.
So what was she doing right before she got these broken feet?
Kicking
Well,
his tail.
No. So my daughter's in dance, and we think it happened there because she's been in a boot before for the same injury, and it just we don't think it's ever healed. So I don't know. We think it has to do with dance. And
I mean, I didn't know if she tried to run off and you done the Chinese thing and with a hammer.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Like Misery, like the movie?
Yeah, like
no.
Misery.
No.
You will stay here.
Oh my gosh. No. Oh man. So anyway,
that movie got. I don't know.
Yeah, that movie's that's demented.
Yep.
Yeah. So number 2. So I owe my mom a lot for where I'm at today, and so my number 2 memory of her is and I didn't know this till years later, but I was kind of a rebellious child, teenager, as we've said before on the show. But she would sit up waiting for me in one of the front living room chairs, and sometimes I would pull in. She would go to bed. Other times she would go sit in the living room, and we'd have a chat afterwards. And a lot of the time Seinfeld would be on. And I have very fond memories of coming in on the weekends and just hanging out with my mom watching old reruns of Seinfeld late at night. And that was just kind of a time where we bonded and hung out. So
late at night, trying to keep from getting in trouble.
Yeah, and a lot of those times she just went to bed because I was up to no good, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, and later in life, I did. I found out that she was waiting up on me, praying to make sure I would come home and just caring for me, So that's a very fond memory of my mom. So I appreciate her for that.
Yeah, apparently whatever you were doing, your parents knew.
Oh yeah.
But Ashley got away with everything.
No, Ashley told on herself.
Yeah.
Pretty much every time.
Yeah.
There are a few things she got away with.
Troy taught her how to break out of the house without tripping the alarm.
What's funny?
Well, because she knew I was already doing it.
Yeah. When he was in middle school. So she's in high school, and the middle school little brother is like, here, take a butter knife and slide it in there.
So I came, it was me and Clara the other night, and Audrey and Lily were gone somewhere, I think skating or something like that. And so I was out doing stuff, and Clara went into her room, and I was like, okay, whatever. She's doing whatever. And I keep going in and out, and then all of a sudden I hear her outside. And I was like, I didn't hear a door open. And so then I'm just kind of, doing the dad thing, playing investigator. And all of a sudden, I hear her whistling like she's going to come back into the house. She walks right by the door. And so then I go over to her bedroom and I open the door just as I see her climbing through the window. And I was like, we're not doing that anymore. She's like, hey. No.
Oh man.
I think she's just doing it because she's finally got her own bedroom. We just moved the kids into their own rooms. And so it's kind of that little.
What can I get away with?
Yeah. It's like, nope. I was like, I got cameras all around this house. I was like, you're not getting.
Yeah.
It's not like when I was a kid. We're a little bit more advanced.
Yeah. Right. For sure. All right. And then number 1, I have this memory of her. I don't even remember how old I was, but I was little. But I was a kid that didn't sleep much. I don't remember any of this, but I didn't sleep much. I was told that I don't have any younger siblings because I was such a hard baby to deal with.
I can see that.
Oh, you can? Yeah, okay. But I remember, I don't know what age I was, 2, 3, who knows when this memory was, but I would be in her lap late at night when she would just sing to me or just sing out loud, and I would twist her little ring necklace, and it has a little gem in it, and it's a ring, and I think it's her engagement ring, but it was on a necklace, and I would just play with it, and that would get me to go back to sleep.
Oh, wow.
So
my kid, my was that Lily that used to do that when she was a baby? Like she would sit there, but then she'd grab mom's ear.
Oh yeah,
and just kind of just run the ear through the finger, and
Yeah.
Go right to sleep.
I would do it with my mom's necklace.
Yep.
Go right back to sleep.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So those are memories.
Tear jerker of some memories there.
That's right.
Made me
Gotcha.
cry.
Well, you got us a good word there, Pastor Sears.
Out of day 16, the good word is exposed. And so we're reading out of Luke chapter 8, verses 37 and 39. Then all the people of the surrounding country of the Gerasenes asked Jesus to depart from them, for they were seized with great fear. So he got into the boat and returned to Galilee. The man from whom the demons had gone begged that he might be with him, but Jesus sent him away, saying, "Return to your home and declare how much God has done for you." And he went away, proclaiming throughout the whole city how much Jesus had done for them. So this is right after Jesus comes across, and they're in a non-Jewish settlement right now, is where he is. And he came across this demon-possessed man, and the demon said, "If you're going to cast us out on these pigs." And they cast him out on the pigs.
Yeah. They ran over the
cliff. So a couple things. Number one, pigs were unclean, or the current Jews today still consider pigs to be unclean. So we know that these were not Jewish people around that settlement. They were actually farming pigs, using them. It was a big herd of pigs that they were talking about. But it's really interesting, and the exposed here, the word where they get it is once the miracle, and you could say a couple miracles happen here. Number one, he cast a demon out of a dude. Number two, they actually went into pigs and went and killed themselves. So the man was like, "I want to come with you." Like, this was awesome. And then the people that witnessed it, and this dude was normally there, and they knew he was demon possessed.
Right. Yeah.
And was an issue for them. But when they saw how powerful Jesus was, they were like, "Yeah, you need to leave.
Yeah.
Like, get out of here." So, and what they talk about in the Bible study is that people that witnessed Jesus' miracles still didn't want Jesus around. Right. So it's not like, "Hey, this guy could do mighty things. We're good with it." The people that saw him do a lot of the stuff that he did, this documented in Scripture, also were the same people that were yelling, "Crucify him," when he was on trial, right?
Yeah.
So, but I think the people that see those experiences are a lot different than the people who experienced Jesus, and that goes for me. That goes clearly here in the guy that actually that was demon possessed. He's like that happened, and he's like, I'm going now.
Yeah, I'm all in.
Jesus is like, go back to your family. Like, you haven't been with them forever because you've
been demon possessed. Yeah.
So and I just think it's neat. Now, from the exposure standpoint, when something major like that happens, you're either going to be all in, or you're going to be like, you got to get out of here. Like, they're not going to. And if you look at the they lived with the demon possessed man there. That was a common thing for him to be there. That was, like, "Oh, we're farming our pigs out there. Oh, watch out for the demon possessed guy."
Yeah.
And then Jesus solves that problem.
And they were
like, "Yeah, I'm okay with that dude being here, because we kind of understand that what he was doing and where he was and what was going on."
Another thing, they could have all been ticked off because he just ran their herd into off a cliff.
Yeah.
Like, that was all our food.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point.
Get out of here, man. What are you doing?
At the same time, you no longer have a demon-possessed man in your town.
Demon-possessed man that we can deal with occasionally, or a whole herd of pigs ran off a cliff.
But did Jesus run the pigs off the cliff, or did the demons run off the cliff themselves? I know that he caused the whole situation where they did.
Correct.
But I think it really does expose, you, and he kind of talks about this as well. You're for me or against me. Like, I don't want you to be lukewarm. Pick a side.
Right.
I'm going to spit you out of my mouth if you're lukewarm. But the people that I think that are truly impacted by Jesus are like, "I'm going to follow you." And then the people that see that Jesus is more than just a great teacher, rabbi, they're either going to follow him or they're going to shun him and say, "I don't want anything to do with this guy." And we see that in Scripture. I think we've seen that ourselves with people that we know. With us, You know, I responded in a way that was like, okay, I'm following that dude, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't know, exposure. Having something great and powerful happen exposes what your true intent is. And in this case, the people were like, get out. And the guy that was actually helped by this was like, I want to follow you right now. Let's go.
Yeah.
So,
I also wonder if Jesus told him, no, go back to your family, stay here, to maybe be a seed for the people there.
yeah, go tell them what happened.
Yeah. Go tell them how you're healed and everything. And maybe, hopefully, those people came around.
Well, and Jesus was pretty specific about who he wanted to follow him.
Right. Very true.
Like they were chosen.
That's good.
I like the way you circled back.
They're not sponsoring this show, by the way.
All right, that's what I got.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for listening. Don't forget to send your mom a text or a hug if you can see her this weekend, because it is Mother's Day. And if you're married, don't forget that your wife might be a mother, so she might be expecting some gifts from your children.
What if your wife's a mother and you don't know it?
Oh.
What?
See you next time, folks.
There's a thinker.
Thanks for listening to the Hardheaded Podcast. Don't forget to share this podcast with others to help us get the word out.
Also, if you haven't yet, please rate and review the show. This helps our podcast show up in other people's suggested shows that may or may not have listened to us before.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.